Today I've chosen the subject, what's your time horizon? And for me, this is really a starting point for technical analysis. If we don't define our time horizon, we cannot have a meaningful conversation. And we'll look at lots of live charts in the session, and we'll get some basic principles across first, but we are going to do some live analysis using LSEG Workspace, running through different time frame charts. So a really good session. This is really quite important as well, because time horizon is one of the biggest areas of confusion. You can easily have someone say, oh, I thought you were bearish on crude, but it's going up. I'm going to say, well, I was bearish long term, but short term it's going up. So really understanding time horizon is absolutely critical. We run these, as I mentioned, these intensive 2-day tailored training courses, and the whole idea of the surgeries is to give you parts of these courses which we think are relative to you and will help you progress in your technical analysis experience. And we give these courses globally. If you go on LinkedIn, there's 2.5 million people saying they are technical analysts. There's a lot of people, but a very small number of them are actually qualified. So the LSEG technical analysis surgery schedule that I have set for 2025, and in fact I've given LSEG the series beyond 2025. This is the list. We're starting with what's your time horizon, because I feel that this is the most important thing to understand and grasp first. And we're going to talk about these subjects in a way that you may not really fully have been taught them before. And this comes out of the teaching. We've learned a lot through teaching people over the years, and you'll find it's very in-depth, very focused on those areas. And I do implore you to come each month, because you're going to be able to top up your knowledge with the next level. So really quite key. When we do the courses, I generally say to people, this is a slide that is worth printing out and having on your desk in front of you. So when you ask me for the slides at the end of this session, this is the slide that you might want to print out and have ready. So this was originally in that book that was published in 2010, and down in the corner here I've got a little gemstone. Every month when I do the surgery, I'll have a gem, and this is the hidden gem slide, if you like, for today. The idea behind it is that if you're looking at a daily chart, you're thinking weeks ahead, and if you're looking at a weekly chart, you're thinking months ahead, and if you're thinking an hourly chart, you're thinking days ahead. And so just by changing the time frame of the chart, we change our view. That's one of the most powerful aspects of technical analysis. And the interesting thing, of course, is that different people have different definitions of what is short-term and long-term. So a short-term trader will consider that a long-term view is days, because they may be trading intraday. And a long-term investor may consider that a short-term view is a few weeks, because they're taking a view of years. So it's interesting that different people have different ideas of what short-term, medium-term, and long-term are. But what we were trying to do with this time horizon table was to fix a metric and just say a daily chart is a medium-term view. We're thinking weeks ahead, and then we would use the other time frames accordingly. This is really powerful for trading teams, and we go in and we train trading teams. And one of the things we really want to get them doing in terms of communicating to each other, analysts to traders and traders to each other, is to get a common language. And once you have this common language, it saves a lot of misunderstanding about what's really going on. Now, the easy way to remember this is just really simply that days means weeks. Most people will start with a daily chart. If you call up a chart on your LSEG workspace, you will get a daily chart probably as your starting point. And when you look at that chart, first thing you're thinking is, I'm thinking weeks ahead. Days means weeks. And so the easy way to remember this is days means weeks, weeks means months, months means years, years means decades. Hours means days, minutes means hours, and seconds means minutes. You just go down an order of magnitude in time, and that gives you the next view. So this is the simple way to remember this, but the easiest thing to remember is days means weeks. And from there, you can go forward. So days means weeks, And that's the simple way to remember this. You have the right tools for the job. And one of the key things we do in our training is teach people which tools work best when, and perhaps as importantly, which tools don't work well at a certain time. And so mastering the tool set is a really critical thing. But the great thing is, once you have the tool set, you can apply it on different time frame charts, and you will be able to apply it on different time horizons. So here I've got a weekly chart, a daily chart, an hourly chart, and a 10-minute chart. The great power of technical analysis is our ability to use the same tools, change the chart time frame, and we change our view. And so one of the things I like to challenge fundamental analysts to do is, okay, so can you give me a view for years ahead? How about months ahead? How about weeks ahead? What do you think is going to happen in the coming days? And just talk to me about what's going to happen today. And, the interesting thing is that the fundamentals might be right in the long run. They might give you a long-term view, but it's very hard to use fundamentals to think hours and days ahead. And this is where technicals have real power for shorter-term analysis and trading. You might have a long-term view, but you need to make a decision that could be requiring you to look at a shorter-term chart. So it is really quite key to do that. The key thing is that the longer term will often dominate your shorter term views. So it's always worth checking the long term before you go down deep dive into the detail of the shorter term. So the chart analysis order is you might start with a daily chart. That's the chart that you're presented with, but very quickly on, you'll want to go out to a longer term picture. This is crude oil again. Notice the break. That's a significant break when you look at it on the weekly versus the daily. And now you might see a descending triangle that you don't see on the daily. And so your long-term view, is really just tempering anything that you're seeing on the medium term because of what you're seeing on the long term. So you really want to know that before you start to go in to the medium and then the shorter term. So you start here, you zoom out, you look at the weekly, and then we go back to the medium term, and then you might want to zoom in to the shorter term, and you'll notice here that the shorter term is now breaking higher, and this is an example of long-term bearish, potentially below a level, short-term bullish, potentially above a level, and you've got to resolve these trends. We know this trend will be shorter lived because it's a shorter term chart, and we know this trend will be longer lived because it's a longer term chart. How do you keep up with your technical analysis skills? Well, you'll notice a bit of a theme here: monthly, weekly, daily. Monthly, come to the surgeries. You'll hopefully remember this idea of time horizon, because every month when I do the surgeries, I am going to go between weekly, daily, monthly charts, whether we're thinking trends or different analysis techniques. That's what we're going to do. So it's a really important place to start. Weekly, you can follow me on LinkedIn. I post nearly every day. I've got 33,000 followers there. Just look up David Linton, you'll find me. And I do a morning call every morning where I'm calling crude oil, gas, power, and energy markets. And you can email me to get on that as well. David at betagroup.co is the best place to catch me. And I just want to leave you with an idea of retaining knowledge. Practical doing it face to face. There's nothing quite like practical doing it. And that's where this webinar is better than just people say, oh, can I just have the slides, or can I just watch a video? And if you want to retain this knowledge, what I urge you to do is to actually start playing with the charts just how we were doing in the webinar. So zoom in and out. I really stress looking around the charts, play with weekly, daily, 60 minutes, move between the time frames, give yourself some thinking time, and look left through the chart. There's no substitute for doing this. But face-to-face is the best way to learn, remembering that we're giving you bits of what we teach in training, and if you do the surgeries for the next few years, you might end up getting close to what we teach in 2 days. It's very intensive. And the thing about face-to-face is the responsibility is on us to make sure you understand the teaching. But this webinar is the next best thing we can give you for free. And next month's subject is how to know when a new trend is starting and when it's ending.